the stiff truth.
Oh, look at you over there, huh? Just getting ready for the show. I like that.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for the show. Oh, no.
Well, I say let's just go ahead and move forward here. Welcome to the Stiff Truth. Bob is pouring himself a frothy, tasty beverage right there.
Look at the head on that thing.
That's a beautiful chalice. But no, welcome everybody. Welcome. I'm super excited. We are officially here. I know that we had a little bit of a debate about this, but no matter how you slice it, somewhere around sometime this month, maybe early next month, is technically the 3-year anniversary, season 3 of the Stiff Truth right now. And Bob, you've been here for every single episode. Aren't you proud of that?
Am I supposed to be proud of that? Yes, I am very proud of that. Yes. What an accomplishment.
Yes.
I feel a sense of achievement. All kidding aside, it is our season 3 premiere. 3 fucking years of the Stiff Truth. Well, technically 2, but we're getting started on year number 3, and we've got a lot coming this year. That's the 3rd time I've said that.
And that's C-U-M, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Bob, first of all, congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys. We're just going to get that out of the way right now because I really don't want to talk about it much longer there. You guys have, we'll just say, I'm going to do this as horribly as I can. You guys have limped your way into the playoffs.
We call it backing right in. You have a head of steam, and then you just start backing right on in. Because if you remember, there was a time, much like my fantasy team, where I and the Cowboys were both 6-1, and the future was bright.
Man, you were wearing your shades then because it was so bright. No, that was many moons ago. But look, still, you landed respectably in the final rankings of our fantasy league. I came up a little bit short. I got 2nd. Bob, I think you were in 3rd or 4th, right? Something like that.
I think I finished 5th. I think it was 5. We're gonna go 5.
You're kind of in the middle of the pack, but a little bit lagging. You know what typically the NFC East is used to doing. But no, in all seriousness, the Cowboys are. What are you guys in the? I want to say you guys are in the 3rd spot, right? Yeah, you're in the 3rd spot. You're hugged in there, man. So no home field advantage or anything. That's locked up by the Packers here. So here we are.
I think they've got the 4th seed. I want to say because did Tampa win?
Tampa did win. Well, I'm looking at it right now. I think this is accurate for the NFC. I think it's all locked up. We got Packers 1, Bucks 2, Cowboys 3, Rams came in at 4. It looks like they won that game against the 49ers.
They lost against the 49ers.
Oh, they did. That's why. Okay, that's why the 49ers are in the 6th spot.
I think they would have had the 2nd seed with the Cardinals loss.
So so it's Packers, Bucks, Cowboys, Rams, Cardinals, 49ers, and Eagles coming in that last wild card spot on the NFC side. So
which the Eagles already had locked up, so they didn't really care against the Cowboys anyway. They're already resting people.
It's going to be pretty interesting, though. I mean, the only thing right now that this is an interesting. It's our first NFL weekend, Week 18 NFL weekend. It's been interesting to me to see it's strange to see teams like my team. It's like, oh, and the Washington football team ends their season with a disappointing 7-10 record. I'm like, huh? That's weird. It's just weird to see these off records now because we got. You got one more game packed into the end of the season. So I'm gonna have to get used to that. We talked about it yesterday. Remember, the 1,000-yard rusher, not really going to be a big thing anymore, considering they got an extra game to pack in stats now moving forward for the regular season. So Antonio Gibson today, he got his 1,000 yards today, and I really wasn't very impressed. I'm like, yeah, but if the regular season would have ended like a normal regular season with 17 weeks, you would have came up with like 967 yards or something like that. Not that impressive, but still, pretty interesting day. And then the only thing right now that's up for chance here is it going to be the Chargers or the Raiders that are popping in here because that game's going on, I think, as we speak. I think it just started real time.
Yeah, and we're not watching any of it because it's the Raiders. I mean,
and the Chargers. I really don't care.
I'm sure your wife is all over it though, because there's a pretty intense league championship game going on there.
I don't want to say too much, but I'm just saying, last I checked, she's ahead and Travis has one person to go. She has three, including both of her running backs and Darren Waller. So we'll see what happens though. It's looking pretty good.
It looks like it's pretty wrapped up at this point. So,
let me ask you here. So far with where things are shaking out with the football, just playoffs and everything, NFL. Is there anything in here that we kind of called as like a sleeper or
Cowboys, fucking Bills, man. Cowboys, Bills.
Yeah, that's true. I was saying also to watch out for the Cardinals, but that wasn't really like a sleeper or anything like that because they're in there. But other than that, it's kind of like business as usual here. The only thing that's pleasantly surprising, quite frankly, is who came out of the AFC North. I think either way, we were going to be pretty happy, but you got the Cincinnati Bengals in there, and I think well deserved. Joe Burrow's, Jamar Chase. I mean, they've just been dynamite the past few weeks, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and how about the Steelers sneaking into the playoffs?
I think it's pretty sweet. I really do, actually, because it's Big Ben. He just announced his retirement, I think last week or the week before, right? So won his last game in Heinz Field last week, the last home game of the regular season, wins this, sneaks into the playoffs. Who knows? I don't see it happening. I see okay, anything could happen, but there's a mild, weird chance that he could literally like Eli Manning this playoffs on the AFC side.
Well, you just gotta get in.
Yeah.
I mean, once you're in, everyone has like their own, motivations and everything at that point. The game has all changed. It's a whole new season at this point. You could throw the number 1 seed out the window. But the chance of a number 1 or 2 seed making the Super Bowl on at least one side is like 99%. Like it's like almost every year, the 1 or 2 seed is in the Super Bowl, at least on one of the sides. So we'll see. I don't know which side's easier to guess. There's just so much like stiff competition and so many good defenses in the playoffs this year that it's very tough. I think that the team that's not getting the run, I think Tennessee might be the lowest like expected like showing of a number 1 seed in the history of the NFL. Yeah. Tennessee has like no one believes that they're going to do anything, but here they are. They've been grinding without all their players all year long. And now all of a sudden they locked up the number 1 seed. They're heading into the playoffs, and Derrick Henry's going to get back, and they're on a bye week for a while.
That's the thing. That's the thing I was just going to say is they have like quietly worked their way all the way up to the number 1 seed, and there's enough time realistically for Henry to come back. And honestly, if Henry comes back, I'm just going to go ahead and say it's Titans Super Bowl this year. I think, like all things pending,
he's not going to be in game shape. Probably. I don't know. It depends on where he's at right now, but he's got 2 weeks to go. But
that kind of freak of nature, like not game shape, is still probably like he's going to come in like Adrian Peterson's peak condition, like when he was like in his prime or something. That's like Derrick Henry, not in like game shape.
Does it matter what kind of shape he's in? It's going to take 4 dudes to tackle him.
That's what I'm saying. And then all of a sudden, Julio Jones now is back healthy. AJ Brown's been back for a couple.
Their whole
of
team
weeks.
is now healthy. The whole fucking team is healthy now, except the running back.
I will say this: Henry's healthy. They are definitely going to win the AFC. This is my prediction. I think on the other side, I honestly think it's going to be the Packers. I would be surprised if it wasn't. And if that's the scenario, I see the Packers winning the Super Bowl. If Henry's not healthy, I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to say Bills, Packers. And I say Packers are still going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, see, I'm still sticking Cowboys, Bills.
Of course you are. I would do the same thing as Washington was in there, but we ended our year at a lovely, respectable 7-10. Hey, you know what? It's the first time we ever were 7-10, though. So that's nice.
I'm going to tell you this: the Cowboys' offense is getting healthy and getting in sync at the right time, and their defense has been outstanding for the last month. They've got a lot of momentum. I think they're going to have a really good showing in the playoffs. I think that they might just have the person that the torch will be passed to from Aaron Donald as the best defensive player for the next decade. And Micah Parsons, that dude is just electric. I don't know. There's a lot to like about the Cowboys, except, the fact that it's the Cowboys. And I understand that. But from a football perspective, the Cowboys can line up against anyone, and it's going to be really tough because they have a lot of balance. So the Packers are really good, but they're all offense, and really they rely on Aaron Rodgers and the health of Adams and Jones. If those guys go or Aaron Rodgers gets pressured, their defense can't just win them the game. So
well, if I was pressed, I would say that to me, it's more cut and dry. If Henry is healthy, I say Titans take the AFC. If not, then it's kind of like anybody, even Patriots are in there. They could any game. I do honestly think, and I would be really disappointed, but I mean, you've got the Bucks just hanging out there too. You got Brady hanging out in his best playing time of the year. So there's that. You've also got the Rams and the Cardinals. If DeAndre Hopkins and JJ Watt are healthy for the Cardinals for the stretch here, that adds another big element to their offensive and defensive power. It's going to be pretty interesting. It's actually, besides the beginning of the season when there's so much hope for the Redskins, this is legitimately the most exciting time of football.
It's season 2, right? It's season 2. Like the new season has started, the playoff season. And you bring up the Cardinals, and I do want to point out that the Cardinals were the best team in the league, not even close, for the first 10, 12 weeks of the season, right? And then they started to slide, right?
There was a bit of a skid for a little bit there, but they had some injuries too. Kyler Murray was injured for a little bit. DeAndre Hopkins, JJ Watt.
Kyler Murray, that's the big one, right?
Yeah.
Kyler Murray was injured. And even when he came back, Kyler Murray was still coming back from an injury, not 100%. And I think the closer as we keep going on week after week, he's getting stronger and stronger. And they really are getting back to that like elite team form. So they could be very dangerous in the postseason too. As far as the NFC sleepers, I would say that those guys are probably the ones to watch more so than the Rams or the Niners in that division.
I agree. And also, if you remember, I mean, he doesn't jump out anymore as like as a huge name since he came from the Steelers. But since James Conner has been injured, they have also not been winning as much. I know Chase Edmonds, they spent a lot of money for him, and he's a damn good running back. But I really just think James Conner, like he's like he's a marquee back, man. I don't know what he's doing there, backing up anybody.
He's a beast, a beefy beast.
He's back. He's looking like he's coming back, like in this week or next week. So
when John Madden were alive, he'd be like, boom, that guy really has a nose for the football. Right? So yes. He does. He sniffs out the end zone, right? He's not just a back that can like get in. He's not just a touchdown hawk, right? Where he's just a big beefer and he comes in on 4th and goal or whatever. He can get in the end zone every which way. And I think he's got like 16 or 17 rushing touchdowns this year, something ridiculous.
For a backup? Yeah. I mean,
I see this guy making one-handed catches. I think he leads the league in one-handed catches.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, this guy's amazing. He's not as fast as everyone, but as far as versatility, he's probably the most versatile back in the league. And he's maybe slipping out of his prime at this point. But really, as far as like backs go and ability go, it's probably the best all-around back since Le'Veon Bell left the Steelers.
Yeah, I would say this year, and somebody very surprising this year that I think a lot of people knew the guy had the potential. Like Cordell Patterson is the other one, I think, too, that kind of just came out and just like improved a lot of for a shitty team. Don't get me wrong, though. He's playing for the Falcons this year, but if he was playing for a different team, he would have been used even more. But he's got some great stats for them this year.
He's an amazing football player, much like Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, right? Same kind of guy that can do it all, man.
Really can. Deebo Samuel threw another touchdown tonight. I mean,
it's amazing.
Give me the ball. Oh, look, that guy's open. Oh,
by the way, what do you want to get into? Do you want to do a red pill first or a blue pill? I'm ready to go. I'm thirsty.
Oh, well, I guess since we're going to go down the rabbit hole,
let's do red. Okay. Cheers. Let's try this out. Okay. Very sweet.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I'd like that strawberry liqueur, but
well, good on you. I told you I should have went to Total. Total's just a piece more down the road than these other two liquor stores that I frequent, but I went to both places. I had to settle for, I'm just going to admit it, I had to get like cherry puckers, like a cherry like liqueur versus the strawberry liqueur. Honestly, when I was there getting frustrated at the second store, I was thinking with my bartender brain, I was like, it's honestly just for fucking color. I just need something that's bright red to put in the top of this fucking thing. It really doesn't matter what it tastes like. I could have grabbed like apple whiskey if I wanted to, you know what I mean? It's like, just throw it. Actually,
it's not movie magic if you explain the whiskey shot had tea in it.
No.
Just so you know.
But you know what I'm saying. But yeah, it's like, okay. But cherry liqueur, strawberry liqueur, I was like, this is close enough. But what I didn't skimp on, and what really looks cool, is you can't see with the green screen here, but this blue pill looks amazing.
Yeah,
which is
mine's
interesting.
probably not going to show up either, but
no, I can see it. I can
bit,
see the top of it. Just so everybody knows they can't see us now on the YouTube channel here. So we do have the Matrix looking codes backgrounds right now, and we're drinking what layered shots, red pill, blue pill layered shots here, and they've got pineapple juice and peach schnapps. Supposed to like layer those as the first layer, and then you have blue curacao vodka mixture or a strawberry or cherry liqueur and vodka mixture, and top those off. So it's actually quite dank. You've got a decent amount of vodka and other. What's that?
I made mine wrong. I forgot about the peach schnapps. So I mixed my pineapple juice with vodka.
Well, we don't know. We're not really sure what the fuck Bob's doing.
My bad.
He's got all the elements over there. But no, this is fun. And if you guys can't tell a little bit already here by blue pill, red pill, Matrix looking stuff, we're going to be talking about the new Matrix movie here today. By the way, Happy New Year, Bob. Didn't even get to say that to you yet. You know what I mean?
Happy New Year. We had a fantastic New Year, didn't we?
Fuck and A. It was picture perfect, cool, just posh, nice. But yes, we actually did get to visit with each other. We took a couple of week break for Christmas and New Year's, had a great time. We're back settled in life right now. And what do we got to do? We got to watch The Matrix again. This is good stuff. So we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. Did you watch anything else besides Resurrection again? Did you kind of go back and watch more of the other ones? Or
I watched Ghostbusters again.
Oh, the new one?
Does that
Afterlife?
count? Yeah.
That definitely counts. Good on you. I mean, hey,
I actually did watch every single Matrix before I watched Resurrection. So
good.
I wanted to get caught up, and I wanted to make sure that I 100% remembered the storyline, because it had been a decade, My son, the poor bastard, he's never seen The Matrix, right? And he's so caught up in his phone addiction that he couldn't even take his screen time away for a minute to like watch the Matrix trilogy with me. And
it's no good.
I don't really care. I've seen it, and I don't care how he burns his time. I just feel bad for him. Like he hasn't seen that piece of cinematic history. Let's call it what it is.
It really is.
It's something that forever changed how things are filmed, how things are shot, how CGI is done, how angles were done, the way that they did their cameras, and they had those like a couple hundred cameras all set up, and they all like took those individual shots to do the slow motion shot for Neo. Like that was had never been done. Won them Oscars.
Well, on top of that too, the plot, just the story itself was incredibly unique, right? And kind of just I would say groundbreaking in the sense that I do remember a lot of people watching the original movie in '99, coming out the theater next day, talking to these people, and it was like this pop wow factor. You got to see this; it'll blow your mind, kind of thing. I will say that. I will say, especially watching the first one. Obviously, when you watch the second and the third one, you've already got the plot laid down, and you're just kind of following up on it. But the first one definitely was groundbreaking in the sense of just storyline too. I mean, it's happened before. There's other things that have been kind of. I definitely would call this science fiction. I would say like science fiction fantasy or something like that. Where would you put it on the genre track if you had to? And I know you don't like putting in boxes.
It's 100% science fiction.
Yeah.
So the reason why the first Matrix will forever hold that special place to us is because when we watch the Matrix, you're like, how the fuck are they doing this? How did this guy just jump to that next building? These guys are superheroes or whatever. But then when you find out all they're doing is hacking the program, the simulation, the computer software, it's just profound, the whole concept of that. And that's really the first glimpse of humanity into the modern day kind of direction of the metaverse, which we've talked about before last season. before that, we've had some cases with it. You know, Lawnmower Man kind of had a taste of
Sure.
maybe internet life. Go old school. You know, maybe some of the hacker environment and hackers. Maybe some of Tron kind of had people inside, but nothing like what the Matrix brought as an alternate reality. You know what I mean? For humans existing on top of reality. All those other shows were you actually in the internet and you know you're in the internet, right? And I
100%.
think when that happened and we were enlightened on the actual plot of the movie, fucking crazy. And
Well,
that feeling of oh my god, I think is what we all hold so dear.
well, and it's the thing too that I think um just a lot of people in general. I don't know if it's human nature or otherwise, the whole idea of deja vu or this feeling like you are in a simulation, almost like the Truman Show, though, too, right? That you've talked to people. I used to have those things when I was a kid. I would think like maybe like everybody's like against me. You know what I mean? Maybe they're all acting and like they're all just playing a game to like trick me or something. Like me against the world kind of stuff. There's a lot of things with the Matrix with just this idea of like being in this pretend manipulated world too, that it kind of like we scratched the surface with that idea a little bit, just with things I've heard. I don't know how far that goes back, if that's a timeless thing or something like that, but I think that's something where it kind of broke through that scratch surface that we're looking at too, because it's always this weird, I don't know, this weird kind of paranoia that I think people have had. I don't know if it's throughout history, but definitely in my lifetime where we can relate to what's going on here. And it finally gives us an idea on what's going on. And I think that's another big thing that made it huge for me too.
Well, beyond sucking the Matrix trilogy's dick, I want to dig into this and I want to give everyone a fair warning. We are
Hey, wait.
definitely talking about the plot here. So
I just came here to suck some Matrix dick. Is that not what we're doing the entire thing?
if you guys haven't seen the Matrix yet or you don't want it ruined, fuck you. Listen to our show anyway. But seriously, we are
Nice
talking
disclaimer.
about plots here. So you can, just go watch the movie and then catch the show later from this point. But mark the timestamp.
There we go. Got it.
But I've already heard mixed reviews from just friends already about this show.
Same here.
And one of the things that I'm well aware of is that it's been 22 years since the original Matrix aired. That's a lot of wear and tear on one's body. The characters are not going to look the same, and to expect the same Neo and Trinity is dumb.
Wait,
Right?
hold on. Let me just pause you right there. Anybody, and I know you've heard this feedback, but anybody that provides feedback that the characters look too old or weathered, I mean, maybe you should just stop listening to the show. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure what to tell
I
you
haven't
there.
specifically heard that, but I have heard that I wanted the show to be like, like the old ones. And it's just like, well, it's not the old ones, right? That trilogy ended. They wrapped it up pretty nicely with the end of the war, right? At least that war. It didn't say that it was like prevent all war going forward, or that it would or wouldn't. It just kind of left you with your own imagination at the end of the trilogy, right? So, but with this one, like I think very much like explains why the machines followed Neo in the third Matrix movie when he got into the Machine City. Why he basically had like robot groupies following him to the point where he was going to go talk to like the main entity of the Matrix, right? Why they carried him off so like kind of lovingly and sad when he died at the very end of that movie. And I thought that they very elegantly kind of like showed us like, what happened from that point forward. And that's great because a lot of questions were left unanswered. And I think this film did answer a lot of those questions for me.
I agree with you right there. In fact, I will say that's probably one of the, and I'll call it the smartest moves by the screenwriting of this movie is, I know you could see it coming, and I was thinking it while I was watching the movie until it was revealed. I was like, I think even like Keanu Reeves, Neo's character says this in the new movie, like, so what the fuck was the point of everything we did, right? And I would have a hard time as a fan, like, yeah, what was the point of the first three movies if they're literally like, nope, right back here, we're doing it again. It did no good. There was no change. The biggest change, though, is what his character did at the end of the trilogy for machines, right? It kind of split like a line and created, I guess, the option of free will, right? Like it gave them like anonymity, like it gave them uniqueness in the sense that they didn't have to be cut and dry. Machines have to be bad. The humans are the only good, right? We already saw how humans could be bad in the first one. But yeah, having that and then having like machines be able to bridge the gap of just like being the villains or what have you, and actually able to contribute to the betterment of society for humans, in general too. I thought that was huge because it also said, like, what's the point of this? Well, we're living in an entirely different world because of the trilogy and what Neo's character did at the end of the third one, right? So
yeah, and I think that's a very good point about the machines. And I think it did enlighten the machines because the machines had come to the conclusion, similar to Terminator 2, that AI had said the best way forward is without humans. Right. The machine said, all right, the best way forward is without humans. And then they darkened the sky and said, all right, well, the best way forward is actually to keep the humans, but as batteries, because now we need their energy. Well, what after the whole Neo thing did, at the end of the third Matrix movie, the machines then realized the value of an individual human and humanity as a whole. And it created, for lack of a better term, defective machines that said, you know what, I think that this isn't the best way going forward with the company line of the machines. And some of them decided, you know what, I think the best way is to integrate with the humans. And then it took a small percentage of machines, away from that main goal. And it really did change the life of humanity at that point.
And I'll take it just one step further with that too, and say that it actually gave humanity to the machine. So it was like an ironic, really cool thing that made for the win for everybody, right? It's like, why are these machines switching sides? I mean, honestly, I think it's because they started to have feelings. They started to have empathy. They started to, I don't know, they're starting to search for something more than just being a fucking machine doing its job. They felt like they had purpose, right? More of a purpose. And their purpose wasn't just taking care of the machines. It was kind of more of a ultimate oneness purpose or what have you, right? I don't know, but it's cool. There is a cool slice of new machine humanity hybrid, kind of thing going on, which is pretty fucking cool. So, but yeah, that was great. I love that. I will tell you this though too. I've heard a lot of people bitch on how they just did the movie in the sense where, the movie starts out, it looks and it appears like Neo like just dreamt up the entire first three movies. It was just a fucking dream. He's actually a basket case. He's going to see a doctor, he's like just a psychiatrist, is doing therapy or whatever. But he's actually made a video game after his nightmares and dreams.
After his paranoid delusions.
Yeah, after his paranoid
delusions that he's created for himself, right?
And they tool around and they're kicking around the idea of making a fourth one. And as they're doing that, and the brainstorming session is like him looping, continuously taking blue pills every night, because that's like, which I thought was great too, like what his prescription is from Neil Patrick Harris, right? The analyst, is a big fucking jar of blue pills. So he's constantly putting himself back into, like just back at ease and just sinking deeper into the matrix. That was great. As they're doing that, they're kind of explaining how they would kick around and make a fourth Matrix movie, why they're actually doing it. I thought that was kind of cool. Just that parallel right there of like what they're talking about in the movie, kind of tongue in cheek too. You know what I mean? They're doing it like in reality. And then also like, it's just, I just thought that was pretty slick, but I've heard some people say it's kind of cheesy. So I'm just going to throw that out there too and say it was kind of like a cop out, right? To just use a bunch of flashbacks to like the first two, because it was mainly the first two Matrix movies that they kept going back to a lot. I thought it was great though. I thought it was him like glitching out. I thought it was actually just a pretty good job of doing that.
Well, I can 100% say that wasn't all part of the movie. That was also to show people that have never seen the trilogy a little bit of history with the movie so that they can get a better understanding without actually having to go invest 7 hours, watching those other movies, basically for the younger generation, because anyone over the age of like 25 has seen all the Matrix films, right. So that's all about those Zers that haven't seen it yet.
If you think about it, for any kids that are now in high school or maybe right out of high school, you were born after the third Matrix movie already premiered in the theaters, like afterwards, right? Not even that you weren't even like alive yet. You just, there's no recollection of any of these movies in your lifetime. So I thought it was, and we talked about this, I thought the flashbacks were really cool because you're exactly right. Not only did that save people some time for being able to make the connection and see the images and see the iconic scenes that we kind of like just cherish from those movies. When they actually do go back and watch them, they're going to those movies are going to be 10 times more exciting because they're going to see those flashbacks like realized, in real time while they're watching the movies. Be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I know this part. Why? Because I saw it like flash like 4 or 5 times. It was a huge thing in Resurrection, and now they're going to go back and it's just going to make those movies that much more impactful. I thought it was smart to rope in an entire new generation. The other thing we talked about too is, I don't know if I'm sold on all the unique characters in the movie, like the younger ones, but there is a whole band of characters that are in there. We'll just call it, because I don't, I'm not trying to throw a dart at a dartboard here, but I'd say most of the people that were acting in the movie outside of like a few people from the first movies and Neil Patrick Harris are probably in their early to mid 20s max. You know what I mean? So we can make a lot more movies here with the same people is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think the lead actress for the new ones, I didn't bother to research her name, so bad host on my part, but
it's okay.
The Asian actor. Yeah, I don't know her name, but her and Morpheus, I can almost bet going forward are going to be the 2 stars. Speaking of Morpheus,
Liked what they did there.
I thought they did a great job at casting for him. I thought that, like his facial features, jawline, his chin, his mannerisms, I thought he did a very good, like, young alternate version of Morpheus.
Even finding a guy, or maybe they did makeup that has like a somewhat like defined, like acne scarred face too. Like they really went through links. I don't know if some of that was makeup or not, but they definitely went to some links to find somebody or to make somebody modeled after that looked pretty damn close to the original actor. That's for sure. Yeah. And we talked about it too. I didn't know at first if they just couldn't afford them, which I thought was interesting because they got everybody else. I was like, what happened here? But I think the whole thing is it's 60 years in the future, right? So it does make sense if you go back to the timeline. I want to be
like 100 years old.
Yeah, you want to guess Morpheus is probably in his late 30s or mid 40s, like in the movie character wise. He's probably that age or something like that in the movie. So 60 years later, puts him like around 100 or something. That's a little crazy. You know what I mean?
When everyone outside of Trinity and Neo wasn't in this special fucking chamber that kept him from aging, right? Yeah. Everyone else did age normally. So yeah, and I like the whole like Zion is gone. Like Zion didn't work, but now we have Io, and it's a whole hybrid, basically a machine defector human hybrid society. I thought there was a lot of promise in that, and there was a lot of direction. I loved the new robots that actually brought to the Matrix, so that we could see some of the scary looking fucking 8-eyed, red-eyed, fucking crazy tentacle robots actually be on the human side.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
The other thing too is they're making fucking strawberries down there now, so life is good. That's all I gotta say. You know what I mean? They got oodles of strawberries. I mean, there's actually no legit sunlight or anything like that for them to actually to find out a way to synthesize.
And they didn't know the chemical composition of a strawberry, what a strawberry actually tastes like, because they've only ever had one in the Matrix because they haven't existed for like hundreds of years. Yeah,
didn't they like bleed or like use some of the old Matrix code for that or whatever?
The machines knew. The machines knew, from their archive. So they brought it forward and said, no, this is actually what a strawberry is in real life. And they made strawberries.
Yeah.
Because without all of that data, the humans would be kind of lost. So there's a lot of benefits from the machine. The nanobot fucking machines, so where they could fucking exist in real life. As a computer program, but then use the nanobots to compose themselves, much like to anyone that hasn't seen the show yet, it's much like the nanobots or the machines that are made in Big Hero 6, right? The little video machines that act like as one. So the humanoid shapes that it would form, and they're able to physically touch things in the outside world and constantly move. I thought that was a clever way to bring the machines out, to bring Morpheus out. I thought that was cool. I don't know. I think there was a lot of genius in this script, and so far from the people that I've talk to the movie about Outside of You, I don't necessarily know if the depth of that of the plot has really been given its fair shake, because it wasn't as, say, visually stunning as some of the other ones were inside of the Matrix. There wasn't as many battles inside of the Matrix and crazy shit happening.
Well, it is interesting, dude. I can't sit here and say like, oh, well, it's just a good movie and everybody else like doesn't know what they're talking about. If you don't like the movie, you're stupid or something like that. But it seems to me that a lot of people, and I've heard it too, it's either one or the other. It's either like, yeah, I really enjoyed it, or, oh, it was hot garbage. It fucking sucked. I had to like turn it off 5 times. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I didn't know it was that fucking painful for you to watch a movie. But I honestly think the big difference is either you were expecting and wanting a movie exactly the same kind of style, and honestly just make Matrix 4. That's what a lot of people that didn't like it were looking for. Just no kind of mix up of the story. Like what they did here was kind of, it was unique. It was strange how they like went back in and got back into like the actual kind of like the main vibe of like the Matrix movies. They took a detour and they made it fucking really interesting. You know what I mean? That's what I thought. But if you weren't expecting that, or if you weren't, yeah, I guess that's the right word to say. If you weren't expecting that from the movie, you were disappointed right out of the gate, and you probably just shut it down, and you wouldn't give it any credit or be open-minded about it. That's unfortunately where I think it was. For me now, watching it a second time last night, I was like, God damn, not only is this a super creative movie, this puts the icing on the cake, kind of the nail in the coffin, in the sense that, isn't the fucking Matrix like the ultimate fucking love story? You know what I mean? Like literally, like the connection between him and Trinity in the first 3 movies is really, really strong. It's undeniable. But this movie like straight up basically says they are nothing without each other. And in fact, how he's flying around going crazy in the first 3 movies, she's the one that's doing it in this movie. And it's kind of like, almost like, well, who cares? It's neither or them, them or her. It's them together. The only way they can do this, and the whole power of the movie is their connection, their love. And that basically defines like the destiny for the humankind. It's Trinity and Neo's intense, undying love for each other. Pretty fucking crazy, if you ask me.
Well, and it also like transforms away from the Matrix and has like a metaphysical imprint and change in the outside world with their ability to create in the Matrix because of the power of them. It really changed the way that the designer of the Matrix, the Neil Patrick Harris character, was able to actually like program, was to keep those guys close to each other, even if they didn't really know each other physically and in the Matrix.
Yeah, like this new, we'll call it version 2.0 of the Matrix that was uploaded, that Neil Patrick Harris's character, the analyst, right, runs. It's definitely way more dialed in. It's a lot of upgrades from the first Matrix, but the only reason that version of the Matrix is possible is because of the keys, and the keys are Neo and Trinity together, but not too close. You know what I mean? Like just like close, but not too close. Again, when they get together and like they're like just their love is flourishing the most is when they're the most dangerous to, or threatening, right, to the Matrix in general. I will say this though, backing up a little bit here, and we talked about this the other week. Neil Patrick Harris as the analyst, right there. The casting job right there.
Let's give some golf clap for that. Yeah.
And also, I didn't look up the guy's name either, but the guy that played his partner, that was basically Smith, another one, dude. I thought they did a great job with that guy. He does a fantastic job mimicking the cadence of Agent Smith from the first movies, right? I don't know who that guy is. Very probably rich actor, because he did those movies. Hugo
something, because he's the same guy of the elf in Lord of the Rings.
We'll call him Hugo Boss just for fun, because that's like, isn't that like a clothing designer or something? But hey, yes, you'll see that. Check it out. But no, that was a great casting job right there. I will definitely say that those couple of characters and those couple of actors did a phenomenal job in this movie.
His name is Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, and I will say this though: the only thing, as a fan so much of the first movies and those characters, I was a little disappointed that you don't get like a cameo from that actor that played Agent Smith.
I was just reading about that. He was scheduled, and it was
Really?
planned, but he had some conflicts that didn't let him like able to participate in the filming.
Mm,
They did
mm.
try that. They did want that instead. So they did use flashbacks and they did the tying in again, not for us because we already know. We already know what he says because I've seen like the Matrix movies like dozens of times.
Sure.
But for those those years that honestly, let's just be honest. A lot of them are going to be too lazy to go watch the trilogy and really like know what's going on. They're just going to watch the new one and be like, oh, okay. But for real, if you want a good time, get HBO Max and go ahead and get in there. They have all 4 Matrix movies right now in 4K. You got in fast because the Resurrections is going to disappear from HBO Max in about 10 days or so. And then you'll have to wait again for it to come back. I'm sure it'll come back in a few months, but it'll be only in theaters and then digital copy for a while. You got to maximize that profitability. So hopefully they continue the story. I really hope that it's financially successful enough to keep going with another Matrix because I'm curious. I think the cast will hold its own. I think that the plot and the way we move forward is good enough to start a new plot line. But I'm curious to know like the whole where we go from here with the protagonist antagonist story. Where we go, like what's the big drama and cataclysmic event that we have to prevent for humanity now with these new characters. How do they kill Neo and Trinity off or get rid of them to keep moving forward without them? Because obviously they have to.
Well, right? And how do you feel,
recast them?
How do you fill the void though? Because if these two are like the key to existence and one of them or both of them die off or become like just unavailable, somebody has to either fill their shoes, you know what I mean? Like literally has to be like, oh, now I have the same power Trinity did some fucking how or something like that. And they have to bridge that gap somehow. It'll be interesting to see how they do that. Well,
Trinity should become the new Oracle.
Oh, well, I'm kind of thinking they just bang and have some kids and then like, but can they? Yeah, they're both real humans, right? They can bang now. Why didn't they ever? Jeez, man, they wasted like 20 years.
Matrix 2.
But did they, yeah, they didn't procreate though. That's where they fucked up. Because literally right now, on the timeline, Bob, if they would have procreated, their children could have been in this movie. Okay.
Not that we've known. They could easily put that in that Trinity was pregnant when Neo went off in 3.
Sure. They could do that.
They could easily do that because I'm sure, reading between the lines, they are a couple when they're unplugged from the Matrix. I'm sure they're getting down in their tattered clothes while they're eating their fucking porridge.
Well, here, let's just do this. We know how this works. Okay. We just sell the franchise to Disney and they'll figure it out and make 20 more movies.
That's right. And they'll all make $1 billion a piece. I could just see that the love scene on the Nebuchadnezzar, Neo's like dripping hot porridge on fucking on Trinity. She's like, right, and it's just all hot nutrient mix.
Let me ask you this, Bob. Let me ask you this, because outside of not getting to see the actor that played Smith, I'm hard pressed to come up with a bunch of negatives for this movie. I just think it was good. And when I watched it again, because I wanted to make sure when I watched it the second time, I was like, let me make sure I just didn't honeymoon this movie. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's new, it's exciting. I'm a geek. I like the Matrix. Cool. Like it was great. It was fantastic. Nothing wrong with it. Then I watched it again. I was like, yeah, this was kind of weak. But I watched it again. I was like, that's probably the biggest one for me, is there was like a couple of cameos that I just thought would have been great carrots for us older cats or what have you. Do you see any negatives here if you were forced to pick it apart and say, yeah, come on, this could have been better?
Well, so the only negatives, and I think that's where a lot of people were let down plot wise, was like in the first Matrix, there was this profound fucking enlightenment, right? Well, you can't really get that because we've already had that. We can't go back for that first shot of smack. We've already had it. Right?
Morpheus even blah, blah, blah is like a lot of his talk. Remember when he's like, they're looking at the screen. He's like, yeah, you can't see it for yourself. You got to experience it, blah, blah, blah. Like he's like, yeah, we've done this before. Like we can't do it again.
I thought like instead of using the flashback scenes up in the theater, they should have just recreated it altogether and had him in the original fucking building with the original damn chairs, with him standing where Morpheus was, turning around with his stemless glasses and shit on, and his trench coat. I think he could have done that like word for word in the scene and brought him back that way. And so that he could have had his own recall in his head from his, game or his disassociation with reality or paranoid delusions, right? Because of how they were giving him the real fuck job mentally. They being, the machines when they put him back in the Matrix. So I think they could have done that. And I don't know if that would have been unnecessary, but it's not like it didn't work for me. I thought that it was fine. I understand that there wasn't this mind-blowing fucking enlightenment. I understand that there wasn't this huge war. This is Matrix Resurrections. They brought Neo back. They brought in a new cast. They've given us a reason to pay attention to the Matrix again. Now, I really hope there's more coming. And then the next couple of movies is when we're going to see that, or the next movie is something we see why there's another war, why there's another reason to fight. Why the machines are about to fuck us over real bad. And we need to stand up and fight and start freeing minds again. I think that's coming. But I went into this movie with very little expectation. I just wanted to go for a ride, and I was just happy to sit down and see some green ones and zeros again. I just was happy that there was a new Matrix movie, and I just kind of, we talked about this off air that we both kind of had no expectations for this movie, and I think that's some of the reason why it was so good for me. And it's not the best Matrix movie of the series, and I don't think it's supposed to be.
No.
But will it make $750 million worldwide? You bet your ass it's gonna. It's just gonna.
Yeah. I thought it was good as a standalone movie in the sense that there's no reason, I think, to compare this to the three. It's not even, you don't even have the same variables. Like you were talking about, it was 22 years ago, 2019, 18, whatever for the sequels, right? You cannot make the same movie without the exact same actors in the same time and point in their life. You just can't do that. So it's standalone in that sense. I will tell you what, though. My thing that I was thinking about last night, though, kind of my biggest takeaway with where they could go with this and how they could make it so much more. You know how Neil Patrick Harris, and I believe like they allude to these characters, I'll call them or what have you, in the first movies, is there's a few times in this movie that Neil Patrick Harris's characters, the analyst, says, "Oh, I needed to get this approved by the suits." You're right. Or the suits are mad now, so they're going to be coming out.
Like who's running it? Like who the fuck are those?
Who
guys?
the fuck are the suits? Who are these guys that are above the architect? Because they are, right? Because he took over, the analyst took over for the architect. Who are the suits? Who are really pulling the strings? Are these like ultra fucking mega computer brains, or is it a human, or is it a fucking cyborg? What, or is it many? Is it a few? Is it like, what is the next level up when it comes to who is the ultimate puppet master? Because it's not the analyst. He still answers to somebody. It wasn't the architect. He still answers to somebody. And you never get a peek on who is really fucking in charge of the world. And I think that's where they can go with the next movies.
Well, if you remember back in Matrix 3, was that Revelation? The architect that Neo meets, he was not running the Matrix.
Exactly.
He was running the Matrix, but he wasn't running the machines, right? And so Neo actually went and go to the machines at the end, and he's talked to the machine that was running the Matrix, right? And that was that face full of smaller machines that talked to him like, the Mega Mind style.
Yeah, exactly.
But so I think there's more to the story. There's more to find out. I just looked now. It looks like they're at about 150 million so far in the first 2.5 weeks of release. So they're on a good pace to make some good money with this film. And
I hope they make more.
I hope they make more, 100%. So if you haven't seen it and you haven't seen any of the Matrix, do yourself a favor and watch the first three first. It's the best way to watch it.
And honestly, if you're hip to it, I'll just say this because you don't have to be. If you haven't seen the first Matrix at all, if you haven't seen any of these movies, I would get like super fucking high. Like I would take 6-foot bong rips and like just get a bunch of munchies, turn off the lights and just fucking zone out, make it super, super quiet. and just watch that first movie. And I think after you watch that first movie, you'll be compelled to watch the rest of that is available. But I honestly think that's how it was for me anyways. I didn't go the same way when I watched the first movie. I think I just went to the theaters and just watched it, just like raw dog in life, like normal sober style. But it definitely was very thought provoking. That's one thing I can say about the first movie, that it caught on like wildfire, I think, with people our generation too. It's like, dude, have you seen The Matrix? Oh, dude, it's so fucking sick, bro. It's like just such a mind fuck. It's awesome. So yeah, that on top of like mind bending fucking special effects for the time, 1999. I think that was the other big draw to that. But yeah, definitely get out there and check it out.
Yeah, and again, if you haven't watched it, HBO Max all day. They've got them all. And it's 4K. Treat yourself. Full disclosure, though, just as a disclaimer, a 6-foot bong rip is a 2-person job. So please use the buddy system and be safe out there.
This is true. And in fact, if somebody's like totally rookieing this and like, they're like, dude, what do I do? Do I hold the lighter with my toes? How do I light this fucking thing? I was like, yeah, you do need a buddy for that. Maybe you, and I was being a little dramatic. Let's go ahead and just bring that down. Maybe hit a vape pen if you want. I mean, or you could just maybe hit at a little Pyrex bowl. I don't even care. Maybe you could just chill and have a soda pop. I don't really care. Really good stuff. I will say this though. We wanted to talk about it. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but there's been a few people, some RIPs that we need to talk about here. We had.
It's been a rough couple of weeks.
We had Betty White. We had you just mentioned John Madden today, just before we got on. Bob Saget dead at 65.
No fucking way.
Yeah, dead at 65, found dead in a Orlando hotel room today or yesterday. I can't remember. Cause of death not announced yet, but kind of a younger guy. Again, if people 65, I know for you guys Zers out there, that's old as shit, but you're not supposed to be dead on a hotel floor at 65. So I'm not sure what was going on there. I don't think he was really heavy into like drugs at his age right now. I know he's remarried. He's got 3 kids or whatever, but we've lost a couple of greats there, especially the more elderly ones. Okay, a little bit more timely maybe to depart or whatever, but they just made that huge documentary for John Madden, which I'm so glad they did that documentary because I think he got to watch it, before he actually passed away. And then Betty White was weeks away from her 100th birthday, but hey, you can't really be upset for making it 99 years. So good trek for her, but still will be sorely missed.
Wow. Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, that was yesterday or the day before, I believe, too. So there's a lot in there. But again, so okay, let's just face it: Betty White, Sidney Poitier, John Madden, Dan Reeves, yeah, recently, who was a coach for not only the Giants, the Falcons, and I can't remember who else.
I think it was the Broncos.
Yeah, there you go. But so easy come, easy go. That's that whole thing called life. You know what I mean? So cherish all your time out there that you have with you and your family and your friends or whoever you find dear, because goddamn, you never know when it's your fucking time.
And Bob Saget wasn't near the national treasure as Betty White and John Madden, but he will be missed for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what. Have you ever sucked any dick for coke?
Right, that's right.
I mean, he did it. That was, as small as a part that was, and I'm talking about Half Baked. If nobody's seen, I want to say that is the first movie that Dave Chappelle wrote with the guy. I want to say the same guy that wrote the Chappelle Show with him, but I think that came out in like 1996 or whatever. Random cameo there by Bob Saget just jumps up. Marijuana is not a drug. He's like, I suck dick for coke.
And he hadn't had his resurrection still. He was still off of like the Full House guy.
Yeah, he was. Like, right? What's this guy talking about?
America's Funniest Videos and all that. Yeah. Oh no, that was Dave Coulier, right?
Yeah,
but anyway, he was still the Full House guy. So that cameo was like completely fucking hilarious.
Yeah, good stuff. And funny enough and ironically enough, if everybody knows him from being Danny Tanner on Full House, this wholesome, almost kind of Leave It to Beaver type guy or whatever, he was a pretty raunchy comic. He was a pretty filthy kind of comic. Not like Dave Coulier, his co-star from Full House, who was like on the clean comedy actor or some shit like that. Mr. Cut It Out.
And I've seen an interview about him, and he absolutely took that for the money. Because it was so not him, but I mean, it was a great opportunity. And so when you go back and you watch his comedy and then you go watch Full House episode, you're like, wow, he's a pretty good actor. That is not him at all. I was watching The Matrix. Just one more thing about The Matrix. I was watching it yesterday, and I realized when they had that piece of shit, like I don't even know, probably a Z or young millennial character that was out with him at the coffee shop for the first time, right? And he was just
Yes,
like,
yes,
oh
yes,
yeah,
yes.
she's a total MILF and all this, right? And he was like, oh, sorry, best self, my bad.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
should just leave, dude.
Mm.
I don't think Keanu Reeves was acting in that scene like at all. I think he was just like, basically, I just want you to react how you would react if there was a douchebag like trying to like treat this, mother of three like a piece of meat. And he just kind of, you could see it like there. I just didn't think there was any acting there. It just seemed like, oh, look, I just feel that that's the way that Keanu would react to someone
Well,
being douchey like that.
the biggest question out there today, rhetorical question, I guess, is was he acting or is he the best actor of our time?
He was acting without acting.
Oh, well, Bob. I mean, outside of that, I guess we should mention here, and we'll probably end it with this though. But
If we're gonna move away from the Matrix, we should probably blue pill away.
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay.
I came back to
I've got
reality.
to go back then.
Get back in the Matrix. There he goes.
Okay, I'm back.
It's not bad. It's not bad, right? It's
Best
not bad.
self.
Best self. That's best self. It's actually pretty funny. But if anybody else has been following the news, one more quick thing. It's on the notes here. We haven't talked about, and I'm going to call her Jiz. That's right, Ghislaine Maxwell. Her story's not over yet, bud. I know people have seen that she's been found guilty on multiple counts, but there's been a little bit of a twig that's been thrown in the spokes here, so to speak, and that's two of the jurors now are compromised potentially, and they're looking for a mistrial now because it looks like two of them did experience sexual assault when they were children, which I guess for some reason jeopardizes them having.
Well, it's probably because they asked them when they were selecting them.
Yeah, they did, and apparently one of them says he remembers stating that he was sexually assaulted as a child on the survey, and the other one doesn't remember. But either way, to be continued there. She still has plenty of time to suicide herself. So stay tuned on that one, guys, as we'll be following Ghislaine.
She has been put on suicide watch and is facing a maximum of 65 years in prison, which since she's in her mid 60s means like 25 years.
Yeah. Especially in prison. So,
right.
But we'll see what happens. I haven't read much more beyond that, though. I just know that things are compromised right now. So it's not the end of the story there. The Jeffrey Epstein saga continues, so to speak, because let's face it, whatever she gets is basically what he should have got in the sense of like, finally, somebody's paying for it. So somebody's got to pay for something here, Bob.
Sort of.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's very murky.
I don't think it really matters what they give her cumulatively. If they give her all that consecutive sentences, even if they cut them all by a third, she's still doing like 20 some years, which to her is pretty much a life sentence.
Yeah, that's true.
Which,
we'll see what happens, though.
She's a piece of shit. She deserves to be behind bars. It's just a shame that, we have to like pay for it. Yeah. It's expensive to house a maximum security person and, feed and clothe them. Anyway. I'm a bleeding heart liberal.
That's okay. We still love you, Bob. We always have. We always will. But I think we are about done for this week. Matrix is super fun. I'm probably going to watch part 2 and part 3 again this week or next week. I watched part 2 a few days ago, but I only watched half of it. It's a really good one, though. I really, really like when Smith goes nuts and starts like rabbiting himself across the globe, when he just multiplies Smiths everywhere. It's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, I'll probably watch the new Matrix one more time before it disappears off of HBO for a while. I really like watching the Matrixes in 4K in the living room. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, that's really nice. But
that's it.
Just go ahead. Yeah.
Season 3, everyone.
Take us home, Bob.
We've got a 3rd season coming. Episode 81 coming next week.
Ooh.
Not quite sure what we're going to talk about yet. I think we actually do have a few listed. So I can't tease that, but Scott's going to show a nipple. So you got that to look forward to.
Done. Handled.
Beyond that, you can always help us out at Patreon. Very easy to find us, Patreon/The Stiff Truth. Other than that, we are now on Amazon Music. So if that's where you prefer to catch your podcast, that is one of many hubs that you'll find us on. But just Google The Stiff Truth. We're really easy to find. But anyway, thanks again. It's been great. I'm excited for season 3, and we will see you next time.